Let me guess, what were your thoughts when you heard about diversity and inclusion for the first time? I can't remember when I heard for the first time, but I think that the picture in my head was something like this. Women fighting for their rights and equal opportunities. Feminism is the word that is popping up for most of us probably. But it's not only about that. Actually, diversity and inclusion is covering a huge variety of topics. It is from very small and simple things such as skills and age, and ranging up all the way to ethnicity and religion. Diversity and inclusion is high on the agenda in the world and in our organization as well. And some of you might be thinking, okay, so what it is about? There is a saying that diversity is inviting to a party and inclusion is asking to dance. However, when you look at this picture and you hear some of these talks about diversity and inclusion, it is not that simple. Sometimes it can go really complex.
Sometimes you might be like this guy, going, "Don't, it's too fast, it's too much, and aren't we overthinking it a bit? Don't we have more serious problems to solve? Aren't we coming to a place where you cannot make a single joke without offending any minority?" Now, all of these are really good questions. However, we're not here to provide you the answers to these questions. We are here to share personal stories on a learning journey that we went through in this topic. A journey which actually doesn't look like picture here, where it's straight and it's clear, you turn left after that, and who's in front and who's in the back. No, our learning journey was a bit more like this. When you think you have this figured out, and you know how to speak and how to behave and etc., and then sudden twist. And then you have to learn and unlearn again. So here they are, personal stories from our learning journey.
So I think all of you know that kids are sick and tired from hearing the question, what are you going to be when you grow up? So I was a little kid too, and I used to hear that question. My parents were architects, and their friends they're architects. So for me, it was like kind of a natural thing to be an architect too. So I thought I'm going to be an architect. And then I remember my parents arranged a party with their friends, and there were a lot of architects, mingling around. And then suddenly, one of their friends, a guy of 45 years old with a beard, approached me, and he said, "Ona, what are you going to be when you grow up?" And I proudly said, "An architect." And then he was like, "What? Really? An architect? A woman cannot be an architect. If you're an architect, then you're no longer a woman." Whew. So I really looked calm on the surface, but then deep inside I was thinking, screw you. I'm gonna be an architect no matter what. So then the years passed by, and then I changed my mind. I realized that I'm really interested in psychology and how the brain works. But then I passed my exams to the Faculty of Architecture just to prove myself that I can.
But you still did end up in a field that is kind of considered masculine, the one of information technologies.
Yeah, I like challenges.
There's many kind of crazy beliefs what's supposed to be feminine and what's supposed to be masculine. I have a 4-year-old son, and sometimes he's crying. Now, there's nothing wrong with crying, and there's nothing wrong with men crying. Once I was a bit tired and stressed, and he was crying, and I was like, "Son, don't cry, be a man." He looks at me and goes like, "So Dad, if I'm crying, I'm a woman then?" And I was like, whoa, this is coming out wrong way. And I was kind of very disappointed in myself, because I'm spending energy and time trying to get better in this diversity and inclusion topic. And then this nonsense kind of still comes out of my mouth. However, I figured you cannot unlearn some things that fast, what you have been taught to basically for the majority of your life. Another thing that came out of my mouth a lot of times is, hey guys. So imagine a room, 15 magnificent people sitting in it. A manager walks in, wanting to be the best in the world, and goes like, hey guys, listen up. And then somebody goes like, are you talking to all of us or just the guys? Of course, anything I had to say went out the window. After the meeting, I walked back to my PC, start Googling, is hey guys sexist? Of course, I stumble upon on one famous dictionary, which says, hey guys can be used to refer a mixed group of people. The next thing I do, for the next 3 years, I use this phrase left, right, and center. Come into the meeting, mixed group, not mixed group, hey guys. Then 3 years passes by. I have this kind of conservative friend of mine who sends me this joke. Now the joke is not sensitive and grammatically correct in itself. It goes like this. Whenever somebody says that hey guys is not sexist, I ask them, how many guys have you slept with? Again, not sensitive, not grammatically correct. It kind of made me think. I don't know how much hey guys is wrong. However, I just try not to use it myself.
Yeah. Not using hi guys is a bit tricky, you know. I sometimes catch myself doing that even when I deliberately try not to. Yeah, I had a bit of a tricky situation some time ago. I was on a business trip in Copenhagen, and I was talking to one of the colleagues who moved to Copenhagen just recently. And we were, chatting, and I was very curious about how things are going there, and how was the weather, and, how does it feel living here. And then I suddenly asked the question, have you moved to Copenhagen with your wife? Apparently, that was an inappropriate question, because the guy was gay. And you can say that we should take the learnings that, we should not ask the questions that are sensitive about politics, religion, and family situation, but sometimes we have to. And then in this situation, it's better to use the word partner or significant other instead of husband or wife.
Yeah, but these are a bit subtle, especially when you are in the beginning of your little journey. So you're supposed to be thoughtful when you're asking these questions. I have been in a couple of stations where somebody was like, so do you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend? And somebody on the other end was a bit like, why are you asking in a funny way? Talking about funny ways, I had this magnificent colleague 3 or 4 years ago. And that was a guy who decided to go on paternity leave. So we make an announcement in our little department and we say, well, this guy is going for paternity. Everyone's happy because it's not that common 3 or 4 years ago. It's not that common now for a guy to go for a long children break. So we make that announcement. One person walks over to me and is like kind of silently looks me in the eye and says, is this stuff even legal? Imagine that parent going on paternity leave, illegal.
Yeah, maternity and paternity leaves is a delicate topic. And we had a situation where we promoted a woman just before going on maternity leave. And there were some reactions in the team that demonstrated that people didn't see this as a natural choice.
Well, these are very hard and uncomfortable topics. Let's talk something lighter. Handshakes, for example. Now, handshakes come in a different variety of shapes and forms and etc. The part of Lithuania I grew up in, handshakes was kind of a big deal. So you would show up at the school, you would start shaking hands. And when you shake hands, it's something like this. Manly, masculine, bam, sparkles everywhere. And you do that for 12 years while you're in school. Sometimes you would shake hands with 20, 30, 50 guys. I don't remember ever shaking a hand of a girl in school to greet her. So that's a kind of imprint thing. However, I'm not in school anymore, and I'm kind of in this business environment now. So you kind of have to behave differently. However, old imprints kick in. Once I showed up in the meeting, 3 guys, 3 girls sitting there. One guy extends his hand and bam, shake his hand. Bam, shake 2 hands of the other guys. 3 girls, I kind of forgot about them. Okay, not very inclusive. Okay, mental note. Next time this happens, shake hands with everyone. Next time this happens, comes in, I come in, There's a guy extending hand, I shake his hand and then shake everyone's hands. But then also I heard some girls saying, yeah, but he's faking it. It's not kind of natural and all. So it's a bit crazy.
Yeah, but Vytas, you just come and give a proper handshake regardless of gender, right? And if you don't do that to me, believe me, I would come to you and give a proper handshake.
But that sounds like you adapted some masculine behaviors yourself.
Yeah, this might be the case. Never thought about this properly. But it sometimes happens. Actually, women adapt the behaviors in the environments they work in. But is that really inclusion? And this picture, it actually screams about anything but inclusion. And this is the view that I often see in the meeting rooms. I remember one day we had a workshop in New York with a group of people from the company I worked for and a group of people from the vendors organization. It was around 25 to 30 people. At the very beginning, we had breakfast, we were mingling around, talking to each other and drinking coffee. And then suddenly, the moderator of that workshop from the vendors organization approached me. And then he said, Ona, you must be doing a good job. You are the only woman among these 5 or 6 middle-aged white men. And I thought to myself, okay, that was a harsh comment. But then I turned around and I saw, a person from Africa, a woman in a sari from India, and then, a 65-year-old person, and, people with different backgrounds, different ages, different skills and ethnicity from the vendors organization. And then I saw a group of 5 or 6 men from my organization, all in gray and black suits with white shirt and ties. And then I realized, I made it. I'm the only woman here. And at that time, for me, sitting at the table and being the only woman at that table was kind of a quality mark. But then I realized I'm a mother to a smart 7-year-old girl. And I want her to see a meeting room like this when she grows up. And that changed my perspective a lot. I'm now actively supporting women in their careers and mentoring. And the main thing, basically the question that I often hear from all these women is, am I good enough? Regardless of their experience, competence, how smart and intelligent they are. And my answer to you ladies is, you are good enough. And so these were our stories about careers, guys, wives, and handshakes. And I would like to go back to the metaphor of the road that we used at the very beginning. And sometimes that road is straight, sometimes it is crazy. And as you can see, we do not have all the answers ourselves. And that is perfectly fine, because we live in a complex world where sometimes you can feel that it is really difficult to say something that is not offending anyone.
I'm pretty sure there will be people who will find our little talk here a bit offensive. Somebody will find it too conservative, somebody will find it too liberal, somebody will probably find it a bit offensive because we focused on the gender thing so much. Diversity and inclusion has many parameters. We don't know which ones are the most important. However, we do have 2 personal favorites of ours. The first one, enjoying the learning journey. And the second one, respecting each other, despite the fact where you are on that journey.